So, I bleed sports. As you know, I am the host, Brandon Janua, like always on all podcast platforms that were Brandon Janua Show. Social media platforms, Instagram threads, real Brandon Janua Show. That's real Brandon Janua Show, REAL Brandon Janua Show. Don't have to space it. It's all lowercase on Instagram and threads. Facebook, The Brandon Janua Show. Then, of course, TikTok, Brandon Janua Show. Go follow me on all those social media platforms. Would appreciate it if you did. Below you go is the YouTube channel, man. I'm right there, for 250 on YouTube, man. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Brandon Janeau Show is the YouTube channel. Go comment, like the vids, like the shorts. It all helps in the algorithm. If you do, if you want to, like the vids, like the shorts, it all helps in the algorithm. If you do, like I said, it's Tuesday, so you already know what it is. It's I Bleed Sports. So much stuff going on in the world of sports. So much. So much. Of course, the NFL draft is this Thursday. Yeah, same. So I got one more team before I get into what they should do. Um, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. They are the team of what should they do? With the ninth pick of the NFL draft. Of course, the NBA playoffs are in full swing. I'll talk about that. Um, yeah, got some WNBA stuff I gotta talk about, but let's get into it, man. Let's start off with baseball. MLB, the season is somewhat in full swing now. It's been, yeah, we're damn near close to the first full month of baseball. Um, and oh shit. There's two teams. I feel like two teams this season that a lot of people had like, man, they're gonna get back to dominance and they're gonna do great and they got this and they got that. And oh shit, this that is not what's happening with these two teams. And that is the Mets and the Astros. These two teams are struggling, and saying struggling is being generous. Like this is not a good season. The Astros are having a terrible start to this season. I mean, my God, man, they are just not good so far this year. I've seen the Astros turn it around, but this has got to be the worst start I've seen the Astros have in, I would say, about a decade. In about a decade, this has got to be the worst start that I've seen the Astros have in a very long time. And the Mets, the Mets, I don't know what you want me to tell you. The Mets, with all of the payroll and all the bank that they have, they just can't put it to fucking together. I don't know what it is. But the question really does become, who's having a worse start to this season? Between the Mets are the Astros. And it sounds insane to say who's having a worse start. Now, if you're going off of expectations, I would probably say the Mets. I think the Mets are having a worse start. The reason why I say the Mets are having a worse start, even I know people are going to sit there and say, well, expectations would tell you that the Astros. I don't know about that. I think the Astros this year was coming into a conference, especially in the AL West. In the AL West, where you have, the Mariners from last year, they kind of found something last year. Um, you got the Mariners, you got Texas Rangers, even though the Texas Rangers have an up and down year so far. I mean, you got the Angels who are look like they're finally figuring something out. I mean, it's still early in the season. We shall see. We shall see. Um, we we shall see. We shall see. Um, yeah. Yeah. uh, you got the A's, the Oakland Athletics, well, the Las Vegas Athletics at some point will be named the Las Vegas Athletics in that division. So if you look at the AL West, the Astros, even though they're having a really bad time at it, they can kind of sort of catch up to the Mariners and I think the Angels right now, who are also in that conversation. They can catch up to these teams. That's not the problem. I think that That's not where the problem lies. The problem lies is this is the second straight year I feel like where the Astros second, third feel like the third straight year now where the Astros feel like they just started very slow. And they just started right behind the eight ball. It feels like they just cannot get out of their own way. It just feels very sluggish. Like I said, they turned it around last year, but this feels very sluggish. It feels very slow. It feels very, you know, um, not Astros baseball. The pitching isn't really that great this year. The hitting has been non-existent. The question does become, you basically let Alex Brightman walk last year. Is this starting to kind of become their own detriment? Where it's like a lot of the players that they brought in during the farm system that the Astros had for a good stretch of time, Alex Brightman, Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve. You got the guys that they have brought in over the last 10 years. Now these guys are wanting the money and the contracts, and now that is gone. That's gone, right? So it's just like, what do you do? So I'm looking at the Astros and saying to myself, man, yeah, if we're looking at the first perspective of what the Astros have been for the last, let's say, 6 years, 7, 8 years, then the Astros having this type of start is insane. But I would say the Astros have also started off very sluggish the last 2, 3 years. So it's not that surprising that they're starting off very sluggish. Whereas for the Mets, a lot of people, I don't know why people always peg the Mets to be some good fucking team. I have no idea why this happens, but baseball media, what the fuck you want me to tell you? The Mets have always been considered some good team. I don't know why. Especially the last couple of years, I feel like a lot of people are like, well, they got the money, and they got the roster, and they got this, and they got that. But I've never seen the Mets as a really great team. I mean, the NL East this year is very down. You look at the Phillies so far this year. The Phillies are not really having a great start to their season. The Braves are having a up and down year, Sue. So the Mets have enough time to actually turn it around and actually become a really good team. They just got to figure it out. Do I think they will? No, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know because again, like I said, the NL East isn't like the AL West. The NL East, you got the Braves, the Phillies, Braves, Phillies. Shit, I think I'm missing some fucking teams, man. Braves, Phillies, um, Mets. Ooh, shit, I'm missing some teams. I am missing some teams. Holy shit. Um, I'm trying to think who's in the NL East, and I can't even think of it. Braves, Phillies, Mets, Mariners. I know the Mariners are in the NL East. That may be it. That may be 4 teams. Damn. That may be 4 teams. Yep. Mets, Phillies, Mariners, Braves. Yeah, I think that might be it. Damn. Um, but yeah, the Mets being in the situation that they're in, being in the NL East, no team has really established their dominance just yet. And it's pretty goddamn interesting to say that no team has really established their dominance just yet. But even with that being said, man, oh man, the Mets have to figure it out. Like I said, the Phillies are not having a great start. The Braves really aren't having too much of a crazy hot start. None of these teams are having a really crazy hot start in the NL East. Could the Mets turn it around? Yes. Could they find a way to win the division? They can. I mean, yeah, the division they can. Will they? I don't have my money on the Mets to make it to. I don't have my money on the Mets. I don't have my money on the Mets. Sorry to tell people, I don't have my money on the Mets. Uh, yeah, I think it's going to be a hard thing to figure out. The Mets are a hard team to figure out. Like I said, the Astros, even though yes, they've started off two last 2, 3 years very fucking shaky. The last 2, 3 years, they've always figured it out. They've always figured something out to get themselves back into the conversation. And again, in the AL West, where you have the Angels, you have the Rangers, uh, you know, the A's, the Oakland Athletics. Like it's not like you have a crazy division, not like the NL East where the Braves, you got the Braves, you got the Phillies, you got you got more teams that can turn it around in the NL East compared to the AL West. So if you had to ask me who's having the worst start to the season, it's the Mets because in the NL East you can't have that bad of a start and then turn it around. Again, you got the Braves, you got the Phillies, you got the teams that you have in the NL East that they can just maybe cakewalk it for a good stretch. But even in that sense, I think the Braves, who have a little bit more of that understanding of who they are, they just never. The Braves haven't been healthy since they won the World Series a couple of years ago. Like they just haven't been healthy. They haven't been that team. So let's see if they can. But yeah, if you ask me who's having the worst start so far, it's the Mets. It's the Mets. I can say the Phillies too. So I feel like the Phillies have more of a championship team than the Mets do. Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Yeah, I think the Phillies have more of a championship team than the Mets do. WNBA. Oh, was it last week? I think it was. Last week, I think it was the WNBA draft. I think it was. I can't remember. I think it was. Um, Congratulations to all the women that got drafted to the W last week. Um, there's one particular thing that happened. One draft pick that got drafted, I should say, to the Indiana Fever. And there's been no dialect, I should say, from the star of the Indiana Fever, the one that everybody wants to proclaim is the face of the WNBA, and that is Caitlin Clark. Because the Indiana Fever drafted Raven Johnson from South Carolina. Raven Johnson was the young lady that a couple years ago, when the South Carolina Gamecocks played Iowa, Caitlin Clark's college team, in the national championship game, Caitlin Clark basically just waved off, said, "Who cares about her? Like she gonna shoot the shit," and basically just waved off like she couldn't score. But Caitlin Clark, well, Raven got the actual laugh that day because Raven and the South Carolina Gamecocks shut that shit down. I mean, they beat the hell out the Iowa Hawkeyes that game. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even remotely fucking close. Um, so it's best to say they have had a little bit of friction between the two of them. Raven Johnson was drafted to the Indiana Fever with the 10th overall pick this last draft. I mean, draft last Thursday, last Tuesday, one or two, can't remember. Um, and she was drafted to the Indiana Fever, which means already people immediately, what immediately the friction just kicks in. Raven Johnson has been on record and spoke on how that moment affected her and her game, and how particularly um and how particularly Caitlin Clark's fans, the people that support Caitlin Clark, was the people that support Caitlin Clark was very fuck it racist to her. It was very racist to her, and Raven Johnson spoke on that, spoke on how she was receiving outrage and hate from that situation, even to the point where she decided she almost quit the game of basketball because of that situation. And now they're on the same damn team. The reason why I'm talking about this is because Caitlin Clark has yet to even acknowledge this young lady, welcome her to the Indiana Fever. And the conversation immediately became on social media, should Caitlin Clark speak out about this? Should she show love to this? And here's the crazy part. Because Caitlin Clark, a lot of people have been trying to defend Caitlin Clark. And I get it. I understand it. Because a lot of people, like I've been saying for a very long time, have never watched WNBA. They've never watched women basketball until this girl became the epicenter of the conversation. Right? Like, a lot of people never watched WNBA's basketball. They never talked about it openly. They never even gave a fuck about it until this girl became the epicenter of the conversation. I have said this for a very long time. Just because you're great doesn't make you a leader. Just because Caitlin Clark is great doesn't mean she's a fucking leader. I think a lot of people get this twisted. You wanted to make this girl the face of the league. You want us to bang on the table and scream, she's the greatest thing on the planet. Look at her. She's putting money in these women's pockets. Look at her. She's doing all of these things. But yet, when a situation like this comes up, you want us to duck our heads in the sand and say, but that's not her business to say that. Caitlin Clark has been famous. Famous. That's basically what she is. Famous since 2021, 22. She's been in the public eye since 2021, 2022. And this girl yet has had one moment where she's flat out said that she does not support how people in her fan base have talked about these women openly. She has yet to acknowledge the fact that when these young ladies come to her city and play her in Indiana Fever, that she has not yet acknowledged the fact that the fans are a little bit over the top with the shit. I'm not asking you to go out there and make a post about civil rights and all this other shit. But in your league, that they are saying that you are the face of, that you are the one, that you are the goat of already. For you to sit there and not say shit is a problem. You can't give all this praise, but then want to treat her like she doesn't deserve any of the blame. These women did not have to deal with none of this shit until she got in the league. That's beautiful that these women are getting on TV every week and getting talked about like that because of her, as you say. But because what's the saying? More money, more problems. Because of this young lady being the way that she has accepted the fact, or at least chosen the fact, that people are going to use her, basically use her. They're basically her fan base, the people that are supporting her are basically using her to be sexist, to be racist, and yet you're solid. You're solid. You see, I remember, I think around the last election, Taylor Swift posted something. I think Caitlin Clark reposted it or liked the post or something about Kamala Harris. And everybody's jumped out the window. It's like, oh my God, here we go. That's what y'all wanted. No, that's not what we wanted. We didn't want you just to repost the shit. What does that mean? What the fuck does that mean? Just because you reposted somebody else's work, that's that's plagiarism. That's plagiarism. You just copied and pasted. You didn't really do any work. You didn't say shit. You didn't come out and support any of that shit. You didn't come out and support Kamala Harris. You didn't say anything. You just reposted Taylor Swift shit and then expected us to just ignore it like, well, she did it. No, she didn't. What did she do? I repost shit all day. What the fuck does that mean? We post shit all day. We share the shit when we see some of our people. We share the shit. The fuck does that mean? You see, again, you want to give her the praise, but then you want to act like we should not give her any of the blame. You brought this into the league. You did this. We didn't have this energy when Kelsey Plum was the one. We didn't have this energy when Sabrina Ionescu came into the league. We didn't have this energy when Breanna Stewart came into the league. We didn't have this energy when Paige Beckers came into the league. We didn't have this energy. So the fact that you have chosen to stay solid on this. What are people supposed to say? What are people supposed to feel? What are people supposed to think? But yet, y'all want to praise her. Her fan base. Listen, man, you can be great all day, every day, no problem. That doesn't make you a leader. That doesn't make you the face of a league. Because if you can't handle the simplest shit, why are we talking about you like like you're the greatest thing on the planet? All we asked was for you to show love to this young lady. Your teammate, by the way. This ain't like something that's just, this is the woman that your team drafted. They didn't, they, so in my mind, because you're supposedly the leader of the team, I'm pretty sure they called you and asked you, hey, is this cool? You think this will work? Can y'all work together? Can't give all the praise and then choose to negate all the problems. Choose to ignore the problems is why the praise gets a little tainted. Why the praise gets a little shaky. Why the praise gets a little over the top. Because you're choosing to give her all the praise and then tell everybody, well, that's not our place to speak on these things. That's not our place to say this. That's not our place to. What the fuck are you talking about? Yes, it is. I'm sick of that shit. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is our place. It is our place to speak on the racism in this league. It is our place to speak on the sexism in this league. It is our place to speak on the fans that come to that arena and watch those women play basketball. And just because they beat her, because it's a game and it's a sport and it's competitive, because they beat her, you don't have the right to then just disrespect these women. That is her fucking place. That is her fucking place. You want to give all the praise. You want to give it the blame too. You can't give all the positive energy, and then turn around and say the most ignorant, stupid shit on the planet, and say, "Well, we have we didn't ask for." She doesn't need to say that. She doesn't need to say anything. Are you fucking serious? Most of the energy is because they're playing her. I don't hear this shit when they playing Sabrina Ionescu. I don't hear this shit when they playing Paige Beckers. I don't hear this shit when they playing Breanna Stewart. I don't hear this shit. I don't hear it. Do you? Every woman I just named, all white. Do you hear it? Do you hear? Do you hear people when they leave the Dallas Wings game say, any of that shit that you've been hearing that these people have said in Indiana when they play Caitlin Clark? Do you hear it? No, you don't. You know why? Because it don't fucking exist. And Paige Beckers, who also was a lot of people trying to use for the same energy they use Caitlin Clark for, straight up came out, I was like, I ain't with that shit. Do not use me for that. I respect a lot. I respect these women I play with and against. Most of them are black. I respect them. That's all the fuck you need to say. You don't need to clarify that shit even further. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Instead, people continuously sit here and say, well, that's not our place to say that. Bro, it has been damn near 5 fucking years since this girl's been popular. And she hasn't said shit. She ain't said a fucking word. So when you sit there and say, it's not our place, when is it? When somebody gets fucking hit by one of these fans because they stopped her and beat her in a basketball game? When is it? When you physically see a fan try to attack one of these women because they beat her? When is it? When these fans go to their fucking bus because they're trying to get out the city after they win? When is it? Or when they lose? When is it? When is it our place to finally say something? Because you keep sitting there and saying, it's not our place, it's not our place. Then when the fuck is it? Because you don't want to be, you want to give her the face of the league conversation, then fuck it. You're going to have to say something at some point. You're going to have to step up and say something. That's insane to me that you want to give her the praise, but then want to fucking completely and utterly ignore the fucking negativity that she's also brought into the league. Because she chose to ignore it. That's fucking insane to me. I don't understand that. That's insane to me. And you will sit there, and even when I clip this and bring this out on social media, I know it's gonna be dumbasses. She is the face. She doesn't have to say, shut the fuck up. Yes, she does. It is time. It has been 5 fucking years. You did it with Angel Reese. You did it with South Carolina. You did it with this one. You did it with that one. You did it with this one. And you haven't said shit. It's time. It's fucking time. You want the praise? Take the blame. That's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. NBA. NBA is in the playoffs. The NBA playoffs are officially here. NBA playoffs are officially here. But I gotta go back before the playoffs started, which was the play-in. And I gotta talk about the Golden State Warriors, man. I am a fan. I've been a fan of the Golden State Warriors. I've said this numerous times since the We Believe Warriors. I've been a fan of the Warriors since the We Believe Warriors, man. Baron Davis, Steven Jackson, Matt Barnes, Monte Ellis. I've been a fan of that team, of the Warriors franchise since then. When they drafted Steph Curry 2 years later, I was like, they got the best goddamn player in college basketball. I knew Steph was a beast then. I knew he was a beast when he was at Davidson. I like, man, he go to the right team. He gonna be something. I always say the Knicks were literally this fucking close from getting Steph Curry. The Warriors have went on to have some of the greatest moments in basketball in the last decade plus. To see what that franchise has become with Steph Curry as the lead guy, it's amazing. 4 championships. They've had an incredible, incredible run. But it does seem like it's over. Does seem like it's over. Does seem like it's over. Steve Kerr's contract is officially up at the end of this year. Draymond Green's contract is up, seems like at the end of this year. But you still got Steph Curry. You still got Jimmy Butler. Is this era of the Warriors done? I do think it is. I think it's over. And as a Warriors fan, I hate to say it because I do think it's over. It's over. I don't think the Warriors can embrace the change until they accept that it's over. And what I saw on the court and Phoenix when they lost, it looked like Steve Kerr, Draymond Green, and Steph Curry accepted the fact that this era of us is over. Do I think Golden State should go get another head coach? The question will become, who could you go get? I know Billy Donovan today stepped away from the Bulls. You got Mike Malone, who just took the job in North Carolina. Who could you go get? I mean, you can ask permission from the Boston Celtics to see if Brad Stevens wants to coach again. People forget Brad Stevens is in the front office of the Boston Celtics. Let's say I don't see how you go backwards, but because of how Mark Jackson, how you kind of fucked over Mark Jackson, but Mark Jackson is still out there. Um, Doc Rivers has officially announced his retirement from coaching. Thank God, because Lord have mercy. Um, yeah, I don't know who you can go get, and that's where the problem kind of kicks in a little bit. I don't know who you can go get. I don't know who you go get. I, I don't know who you go get. And I think if Steve Kerr isn't the head coach, do you go get Tom Thibodeau? People forget Tom Thibodeau got fired from the Knicks. Do you go get Tom Thibodeau? He brings a different level of, and you never have to worry about the offense because as long as Steph Curry is upright and Jimmy Butler's there, and Tom Thibodeau and Jimmy Butler, they clearly got the relationship that they have. Do you just go get Tom Thibodeau? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it. It's such a weird name, right? It's such a out there name, but if you think about it, he kind of fits what the Warriors want to do. He's going to coach them extremely fucking hard. And when you got veterans like Jimmy Butler and Steph Curry, you don't need that hard coaching. You don't need them to be on, people's ass every day. Maybe these young guys, because these young guys need to learn championship grit and that energy. You don't need to tell that to Steph and Jimmy Butler. So I can see that run into a problem. I can see that kind of becoming a problem a little bit there. So I don't know about that. But Tom Thibodeau's out there. I mean, Tom Thibodeau is out there. Like I said, Brad Stevens. Um, if this situation comes up, I mean, listen, he was close to being a Lakers head coach. Do you go get Dan Harley from UConn? Do you go get? I know he just signed this extension last year with the UConn Huskies doing the LA Lakers situation, but at this point in time, a lot of your players that you were having in UConn is starting to kind of, leave the school. You're not as committed to these new kids yet as you were to the old. So do you look at this situation and say, maybe, just maybe, Golden State is the right fit for me? Because again, you got a lot of the young youth there, but you still have that Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, you know, tandem there. I can see Dan Hurley from UConn in a couple of weeks if Steve Kerr says, "Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna rest," like Mike Tomlin did, in kind of football, right? I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna chill for this year, and maybe come back next year. I can see Steve Kerr do that, but then it opens up the conversation to Well, what do you do if you go to state? And I think Dan Hurley from UConn. I would not be surprised if his name pop up. I would not be surprised if Steve Kerr says I'm not coming back, or the Warriors say we're not gonna give Steve Kerr an extension. He's free to go talk to other teams or leave or retire or do whatever he wants to do with his life. I can see it. I can see it. I can see Golden State calling UConn and saying, "Can we have permission to talk to Dan Hurley?" I can see it. I can see Golden State. I can physically see Golden State calling UConn, trying to get Dan Hurley. I can see it. I would not be surprised. I, I think it's a perfect fit. The one thing you need is a guy that can kind of mold these young kids, get these young kids to play. Will his style grab? And then you got two veterans like Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler who are open to helping you transition into the NBA. So yeah, I mean, listen, Golden State seems like a wild ass thing to say at this moment, but now looking at it, I'm like, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think Darren Hurley to the Golden State Warriors makes sense. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. If Steve Kerr says I'm done, I wouldn't be surprised. What do you do with Draymond Green? I let him walk. There's no reason to keep Draymond Green. There's no reason. What are we keeping him for? I don't think people understand that. What are we keeping Draymond Green for? At this moment, listen, he had a great performance against the Clippers defensively. That's beautiful. But that shit comes now so far in between behind all of the fucking crazy ass antics and the shit he does. It's like you get one out of every 6, 7, 8 games where he locks the fuck in. Outside of that, that shit comes so far in between. What are you bringing them here for? What are you bringing them back for? What are you bringing them back for? And that's where the conversation really lies. What the fuck are you bringing them back for? Does it make sense to do it? I personally wouldn't fucking do it. I wouldn't bring him back. That's just fucking stupid. I wouldn't bring him back. But I can see if people say, but he's the core of the team. No, he's not. Steph Curry is the core of the team. Draymond Green has shown you time and time again that he has way more outbursts than he actually has the moments. Like I said, his moments come very far and fucking between now. And in an 82 game season, he's more of a liability than an actual fucking person that helps the team. I don't have time for you to be getting technicals because we're down 10. I don't have time for that. But yeah, I don't know what the Warriors are gonna do. But if Steve Kerr says he's done or they decide to not renew him, if I was the Warriors, I would call UConn and see if we can get Dan Hurley. Or Ty Lue. Ty Lue's free. Wait, is Ty Lue still free? Is he still a Clippers coach? Can't even fucking remember. Well, Ty Lue. I had to call him. I had to call the Clippers though. But I would just go with Dan Hurley. I don't have time for this shit. I just go to Dan Hurley and see if he'll want to coach in the NBA. NBA playoffs. Some games have happened. Some things have happened in the NBA playoffs. Game two of I think the Spurs. Game two, I think of the Spurs. Portland is tonight. Lakers, Rockets, I think are also tonight. I can't remember who else is in game two tonight. I think either the Pistons. I know the Cavaliers. Cavaliers and I think the Magic played. Cavaliers and Toronto played last night. Knicks and Hawks played also last night. So that's two Eastern Conference series right there. And then you had, of course, the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. And I just checked and saw that the Trailblazers and the Spurs play tonight, and the Rockets and the Lakers. So I'm assuming there's going to be one Eastern Conference team that plays tonight. I don't know who. I don't know who. Could be the Magic in Detroit. I don't know. Could be the Magic in Detroit. Um, could be the Magic in Detroit. Could be Boston and fuck is Boston playing? Uh, shit. Boston and Philly, Philly. Lord have mercy. Yeah, it could be Boston and Philly. Could be Detroit and Orlando tonight. But the Spurs, Blazers, Rockets, Lakers, game two of the night. We've had a couple games. Um, Last night the two series got tied up, and that's the Timberwolves and the Nuggets and the Nets, the Knicks and the Hawks. Ah, the Knicks in playoff basketball is such a weird fucking team because you have a closer in Jalen Brunson who's supposed to close. Like that's what he does, right? But God forbid if somebody gets fucking hot on the opposing team, like CJ McCullough last night, if somebody gets hot, they can't stop him. They can't fucking stop him. Watch how this look at the last couple playoffs that the Knicks have played in. Look at the teams that they have played. Last year with Tyrese Halliburton, what happened? He got fucking hot. They couldn't stop him. There were certain moments where they couldn't stop him, which opens up the game for everybody else because now you're so devoted on trying to stop him, everybody else gets off. And that's what has happened with the Knicks for the last couple of postseasons. You look at the Knicks and they're like, there's just certain moments where they just completely and utterly just shit the fucking bed in certain games. And you're sitting there like they should not have lost these games. How the fuck did you lose? The Knicks have that type of energy. I think they're going to probably win this series. I don't think the Hawks have enough to physically beat them. I don't. Could this be a precursor to the next series, which is the Celtics? I'm still a little weary about Jason Tatum. As great of a boost as he was coming back to the NBA, coming back for the Celtics at the end of the year, Jason Tatum is still not in basketball fucking shape, and I don't think people understand that. Coming back at the end of the year, playing 24 fucking games, some shit like that. It's kind of like Michael Jordan in 94, 95, where his legs at some point when he got in the playoffs and it got longer, he got fucking tired. Like he got physically fucking exhausted. And I think that's kind of how I look at the Boston Celtics with Jason Tatum. If they play against the right team that can run them, Jason Tatum has not had that significant game yet where his legs are tired and he ain't getting up like he usually would. And I know a lot of people gonna sit there and say, "Well, this is different rules now, Brandon. Come on, man. Like this is a completely different fucking time period. This is a completely different era." But it's still playoff basketball, bro. And I don't think you understand that. It's still playoff basketball. At some point, Jason Tatum is going to hit the proverbial wall. He hasn't played in a real strenuous game in a year. In a year. So at some point, again, his legs are going to get fucking tired. He's going to get exhausted at some point. It might not happen until maybe the finals, but it's going to fucking happen. They're lucky enough that they played enough for the season without him. But because the Boston Celtics also played enough of the season without him to just insert him back into this lineup and tell him now go out there and do what you do, you change the game up. You had to change a lot of shit up just to fit him. And that is why I'm not so super stoked about the Celtics possibly winning the championship, because I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, everything was going swimmingly before he came back. Even though he's back now, and that's great, that's still a fucking problematic situation, ladies and gentlemen, because Jason Tatum has not played in a severely tough game since he's been back. And that's a fucking problem. That is a fucking problem. This series that he's got against Philly might not be the problem. Not even the next series. But against the Cavs or the Pistons, depending on the Pistons, wake the fuck up. That's a massive fucking problem. And I don't think people understand that because you haven't seen it. So we shall see. We shall see, man. Houston's in fucking trouble. Houston is in fucking trouble. Kevin Durant, I don't know how bad you hurt, my brother. But if Kevin Durant does not play at any point in this series, the Lakers are going to win in 5. On some Shannon Sharp shit. 5. Because at the end of the day, the Lakers have LeBron. And at this stage in his career, that's not a lot. That's not saying a lot. Like, I still think LeBron could get out there and give you at least a 30 game here and there. But that's not saying a lot. But if Kevin Durant cannot fucking go and at least give the Rockets enough steam to stay afloat in the scoring department, you're going to fucking lose this series before you can even look up. You can't have the fact that you played enough in that game against the Lakers and you basically giving them a game, but you still lost. That's not going to work. You have Kevin Durant needs to wake his ass up and get his ass in the game. I know he's hurt. I know he's banged up. Like I've said numerous times. How many more fucking games do you have? How many more playoffs do you have? How many more? They brought you into Houston just for this moment. And you don't even play a game 1? You might not play tonight. The fuck are you here for? We didn't bring you in for 82 fucking games. We brought you in for the 16. We need 16 wins, and you missed already 1. So what the fuck are you here for? Pistons losing the first game is insane. I get it. The Magic had a little bit more momentum coming in off of the play-in, beating the absolute shit out the Charlotte Hornets. Beating the absolute shit out the Charlotte Hornets. I get that. But at the end of the day, I don't know what the fuck Detroit was trying to do. Game 1 was just atrocious. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking they were gonna do against the Magic. I don't know what the fuck they thought they were gonna do against the Magic. That was just a really bad fucking game. And it was really bad. And they need to wake the fuck up. That cannot happen in game 2. You go to Orlando down 2. No, put the shit in the bag, bro. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a fucking week. I ain't saying Orlando is the best team in the fucking league, but to go into Detroit and win 2 fucking games already without having to break a fucking sweat, that's a problem. That's a massive fucking problem. The Timberwolves coming back and beating the Nuggets makes sense. I think the Timberwolves are a better team than the Nuggets. Despite the seeding, I think the Joker's great. But the Joker has those moments where he can't be the Joker. The Nuggets are fucked. And you saw it last night. You had a lead, but the closer couldn't close it out. That's a fucking problem. That's a massive fucking problem. You need to work on it. You need to get that right. Because now you're going into Minnesota. And I'm not saying Rudy Gobert is going to have that type of defensive effort on the Joker in the perimeter sense. But man, oh man, if Anthony Edwards now going into Minnesota, Anthony Edwards now going into Minnesota at home against Denver. That's a scary ass feeling. You don't want to give Anthony Edwards any ammo. Shit gonna get bad. Shit is gonna get bad. The only team that came out and played exactly the way I thought they would play is San Antonio. Oh, and the Thunder. San Antonio and the Thunder are the only two teams I definitely knew coming out because they're the best two teams in the league, bro. I don't think people understand that. The Spurs and the Thunder are the best. The worst part about the Spurs and the Thunder is that they got to play against each other to get to the NBA Finals. That's the worst part about the Spurs and the Thunder. They're the best two teams. The worst part is they got to play against each other. I'm not surprised at all. Not at all. NBA playoffs of the night. Tune in. Watch. NFL. Like I said, draft is this Thursday. It will be an interesting fucking draft, to say the least. People are getting traded left and fucking right. AJ Brown's getting traded to the Patriots, so they say. We shall see. We've seen some weird shit this year when it comes to teams trading people. So let's hold off on that. That's why I'm not talking about it, because I have to physically see it. But we shall see. Kansas City, you're on what should they do list. Kansas City, for the first time since Patrick Mahomes has been the starter, missed the playoffs. That shit sounds insane, doesn't it? Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, since he's become a starter for the Kansas City Chiefs, excuse me, missed the playoffs. Sounds insane. I know. Kansas City missed the playoffs this past year. They're picking in the top 10, which even is more insane. Kansas City, for a good stretch of time, I've said this numerous times, have been living on borrowed time. They have been living on borrowed fucking time. It feels like they've been trying to not get punched in the face. It's like they've been trying. You can hit them with body shots, you just can knock them the fuck out. And they finally got punched in the face. And they couldn't get the fuck back up. Only boxing fans would understand. They lost steam. Like those body shots finally accumulated and they lost steam, and then they finally got punched in the face and they couldn't do shit about it. It's like you could hurt them with the body shots, but you just couldn't knock them out. And then they finally got knocked out this year. They finally got punched. And holy shit, they got a chin. They don't have a chin. They don't have a chin. Who the fuck knew? They don't have a chin. They've been living on borrowed time. They've been living on borrowed time. They've been trying to stay afloat for a good stretch of time. How do I feel about Kansas City and what they should do at number 9? I talk about that. But what do I feel about Kansas City? I'm going to just get it out the way. I don't think you should have re-signed Travis Kelce. I think that was a loyalty signing. Like, Travis Kelce's been here for the longest. We respect him. We love him. He's put up with us through thick and thin. Let's just give him, you know, a contract extension. Let's give him one more year. But this is not a good idea. There's no word if he's going to retire. There's no word if Travis Kelce is going to, play after this year. There's none of that. And it seems that you gave him a contract off of the loyalty. And that's respectful and that's commendable, but that's also fucking stupid. Any team that does that, your team suffers. Because Travis Kelce for the last couple of years has been having some of the worst fucking seasons in the fucking league that he's had in a long time in his entire career. And then it's the reason why I don't like the signing of bringing back Travis Kelce is because you got a fucking tight end right there ready to go in Noah Gray, and you just choose to not use him in that sense. Is Noah Gray now the number one tight end? Because I'm pretty sure he's fucking not, because you're going to have Travis Kelce out there because he's Travis fucking Kelce. You got to have him out there. He's the NFL magnet right now. He's got Taylor Swift, and the NFL wants to stay in fucking headlines. So you can't bench him. You can't sit him and say, bro, you're now second on the depth chart. You're now third on the depth chart. It's not that you're not good. It's just you don't fit the team right now. So you have to use him like he's still Travis Kelce. So it's very stupid to keep him when you could have just like, listen, let's just call it. You go to Philly, you go to Baltimore, you go somewhere, and you become the guy there, or at least help mold the other guys that's coming up in a tight end conversation. But this is why I just didn't think this was a smart fucking decision. I thought this was very stupid. This was not a good decision to bring back Travis Kelce. It just wasn't. You have seen his production dip over the last couple of years, and yet you chose to give him a contract. Like I said, even though it's a year, it's still a contract that you gave him nonetheless, which means that's another body in the room that you don't probably see that can help the team this year. And that's insane to me. You paid him a loyalty contract, which is beautiful. Does that really help your team right now? Probably fucking not. Travis Kelce is not the number one receiver on the team anymore. You can't cover up the deficiencies. Here's the problem. You can't cover up the deficiencies of your team with him no more. So you used to. When he was healthy and he can play and when he was there and when he was the guy, you can cover up the deficiencies of being a receiver. You didn't have a number one receiver, but you had a number one pass catcher. That's the difference. The reason why they failed last year is because Travis Kelce isn't that guy anymore. And he's not the number one guy anymore. You can't just throw him the ball and say, man, go get the yardage. That ain't how his plays anymore. Could he have a resurgence this season? He could definitely have a resurgence this season. Do I expect it? Fuck no. I don't expect it. I don't expect it at all. Kansas City also paid for Kenneth Walker. If you had an offensive line, I would have liked this move. You don't. And that's a bad fucking signing. I know people are going to sit there and say, they need a running back, Brandon. What are you talking about? Kansas City needed a running back. You need an offensive line. That's what the fuck you need. You need an offensive line. And you chose to basically negate that shit and sign a running back. It's great to sign a running back if you have the necessary pieces to already have a good running game. But you do not. You don't. You don't have a good offensive line. You don't. You have a really good center and a really good offensive guard. That's 2 out of 5. That's a fucking problem. And people have never watched Kenneth Walker until this season. Kenneth Walker hasn't been healthy for a good fucking amount of his career. Last year was the first time he was actually physically fucking healthy. So the fact that you just paid this man all of this money because you fell in love with 1 year is insane to me. That's insane. That is some old school Raider shit. You fell in love with the Super Bowl MVP. Bam. What? Yeah, bam. The fuck you? What? Of course he took the fucking deal. I'm getting paid crazy amounts of money and nobody else was going to give me this shit. I'll take it. Hell yeah. That's an insane thing to do. Insane. I don't know how the fuck. I don't know how Kansas City is going to sit there and try to make that make sense because it doesn't. It doesn't fucking make sense. Then you trade Trent McDuffie. A year ago, 2 years ago, you traded L'Jarius Sneed. It's like your secondary isn't all. Your secondary already sucks. So you decided to make it worse? What are you doing? I don't understand what the fuck they're doing. Kansas City feels like they're backwards. I don't know, and this is something I've been said about Kansas City. It feels like you're in the Patriots time, right? The Patriots, when the Patriots stopped winning championships, people forget that was a 10-year gap between the Patriots winning their third and winning their fourth with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Not to say they didn't make noise, they didn't get to a Super Bowl, because they did. They got to one, but there is a massive fucking gap between that. On top of that, the AFC East that year, fucking AFC East for a good decade fucking sucked. You had some years where the Jets kind of caught on fire, maybe the Dolphins, the Bills for a good stretch of time. The Bills for a good stretch of time. Despite what we see now from the Bills, for at least a decade. Fuck a decade. Decade plus. They were easily the worst fucking team in the NFL. Them, Cincinnati, Browns, like, there were real debates. The Bills fucking suck. Despite what you have seen in the last 7-8 years, the Bills have been a terrible fucking franchise. Like, a terrible franchise. For a good stretch of time. Decade plus, easily. So the AFC East only had 1 or 2 years where the Patriots were just not the best team. Where they had to go through the wild card. Where they had to do that. Basically, what I'm saying is, that's not the AFC West. That's not the AFC West. The Chargers can make the playoffs. The Broncos have shown you they can make the playoffs and even win a division. They have the defense. The Raiders are trying to show people they can grow and they can evolve, and they had the best offseason. This isn't the same. And I don't think people understand that. This isn't the same. This isn't the same like the Patriots. The Patriots had a way easier time because the AFC East was so fucking bad. It was, immensely bad. The AFC East was holding some of the worst teams, some of the worst teams in football. Bro, you had a time, you had to realize that the Patriots were in a division where the Miami Dolphins went what? 0-16, 1-15, some shit like that. Bro, I don't think people understand that. Like, they went, like, I don't think people understand that. Like, bro, Miami sucked. The Jets were a terrible team. They had some years with Mark Sanchez and Rex Ryan, and then they just fell the fuck off. Like, I don't think people understand that. Buffalo just was a god awful franchise for a good stretch of fucking time. Yeah, man. I don't think people understand this. But yeah, oh man. This isn't the same. Kansas City is not gonna walk into the AFC West and we're just gonna make magic happen in the next couple of fucking months. And I don't think people understand that. It's about to be a minute. And the way Kansas City has been moving as a franchise these last couple of fucking months. In what world do you think this is a good situation? In what world do you see this and you saying, yeah, man, the AFC West is back gonna be Kansas City's again. The kingdom is gonna rise. Chiefs kingdom gonna rise again. In what fucking world do you see that? Where? You just lost the division to the Broncos. The Chargers are actually somewhat decent. If the Raiders actually hit on their free agencies, in the draft, in the head coach, now you got that to fucking worry about. This isn't just a wake up and you now fix the shit in a week or so, like a couple months. No. And then you don't know what Patrick Mahomes is going to be when he comes back. Yeah. I don't think people understand this. Like, it's going to be a minute. I think people are so ready to be like, oh, Kansas City's just gonna wake up and they're gonna win the championship and everything's gonna go back to no. Dominance is not gonna happen for Kansas City. Like I said, they've been living on borrowed fucking time for a good stretch of fucking time. Patrick Mahomes is still gonna be great. Andy Reid is still gonna be Andy Reid. But that Kansas City shit that we've been seeing for the last decade feels like that ain't coming no time soon. We might need to reevaluate this conversation. Which brings me to pick number 9 for Kansas City. If I am Kansas City and the draft goes the way it sounds like it's probably gonna go, if you are at 9 and there is an offensive lineman from Utah, you take the fucking offensive lineman. If the cornerback from LSU is there, you take the fucking cornerback. There is no reason for us to have this conversation or debate. You need to do it. Get it over. And then again, on top of that, you have another pick later on in the draft. So if you take the offensive lineman, 9, I think you do need to get a weapon with that last pick in the first round. You need a weapon. If Denzel Boston from Washington is sitting there, you take him, not even question it. You take Denzel Boston for Washington, you don't even question it. You don't even have a conversation about it. Denzel Boston. All right, cool. And we move the fuck on. Very simple. Very fucking simple. Yeah. But I think people are tripping. I think people are delusional when they sit there and try to act like Kansas City could just wake the fuck up and win another championship next week, like next season. Are you crazy? Patrick Mahomes is not walking through that door healthy right now. And that offensive line is not getting better. So we shall see. All right. That's it. I'll be back next week. Cap the draft. Talk about the 10th pick in the draft, which is now the Giants, which sounds fucking insane. I know. But I give out my grades for the draft next week. Talk about the Giants. What did they do? More basketball, more baseball, more boxing, more WNBA, more everything. And that is till next week. Until next week, I am Brandon Janeau. Brandon Janeau Show. Peace.